detergent and the rinse are the same for both machines. So detergent, you got the Ultra Clean on there, and then the rinse, you got your Ultra Dry. Similar to the machine back there, you're going to go through quite a bit more detergent than you are rinse additive. So with the sanitizer, you know, it's dependent on volume, but I would say you're probably changing the sanitizer out every 4 or 5 days, something like that.
Okay.
Detergent, probably get a week out of a thing of detergent, and the rinse additive anywhere from, I'd say, 15 to 18 days, again, depending on use. So,
okay.
So just, you certainly don't need to check, and you know, with the chemicals we've got on there now, we're going to be good until you guys are open again on Tuesday for sure.
Okay.
But just get in a regular habit of making sure they're checking it at least every 4 days or so.
Every 4 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and if something looks low, I mean, if there's just like a little, you know, a finger of chemical in there, you can combine it into the next container and put a new container on there.
Okay.
As far as operation goes, this is the wash tank that holds all of the your wash cycle water.
Yeah.
And to get things going, there's a drain stem in here, which is just right in the front of the machine.
Okay.
When you drain it out at the end of the night, just have them shut the machine off and pull that drain stem. That'll drain the tank out. It'll prevent any fruit flies or drain flies from showing up. We flip the machine on, and this tank will fill.
Where's the on switch?
On switch is right here on the side. So you've got on is up, off is in the middle, flush if there's some sediment in there and you just want to flush the tank, you can just do a flush. When you're running on, this is for the detergent. This is putting detergent into that wash tank water. So you're charging the tank with detergent as you're filling it up.
Okay.
There's a float switch on here, so it'll shut off on its own when it gets to the full level of the tank.
So 2 flushes, you gotta pull the stem out, right?
At the end of the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to shut the machine off and pull the stem just to drain the tank down. And there's 2 sides to the actual operation of the machine. There are 2 sides. You're going to get jets on the left-hand side. When we turn it on, you're going to get jets on the right-hand side.
Okay.
The left-hand side is the water in this tank. That's the rinse cycle. So that's going to put the soap and the detergent on the glasses and actually do the cleaning of the glasses.
Okay.
This side is the rinse, and so this is going to put your rinse additive in as well as your sanitizer. So this is washing all the soap off of the glass and making sure the glasses are properly sanitized. Okay. So they go in on this side. You can see they look the same, but you've got a jet underneath the wheel and jets above the wheel on both sides.
It's shooting up and down simultaneously?
Up and down simultaneously, yep.
Okay.
So we'll go through the wash cycle first, then it'll go through the rinse cycle, it'll come back around, hit this paddle shuts the machine off, or shuts the cycle off. The machine is still on, but the cycle is off.
Okay.
From an efficiency standpoint, running 2 cups through running only 2 cups through is not particularly efficient. The upside of this machine is that you can just keep them kind of continuously going. You can have the whole conveyor filled, pull a couple glasses off. It'll run. It stops it right where it was and starts back up right where it was. So there's no interruption in the cycle or anything like that.
Okay.
This side of the machine, as far as the jet operation goes, stays pretty clean because this is fresh water coming into the machine.
Okay.
This side will get clogged up depending on how much extraneous stuff is going through the machine. I don't know if there's really any things, you know, like lemon seeds or anything like that. I don't know if we need to worry about that necessarily. Scale is really more the bigger thing in St. Paul, is that you will get some scale buildup inside of there.
Okay.
And you'll notice that these jets they're 15 going kind of all the way across the conveyor.
Okay.
You'll notice that as it gets clogged up, you'll get fewer and fewer of those jets.
Okay.
And I'll show you once these get through.
Because that's recycling the dirty water.
Correct. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So I'll show you here in a second how you take those jets off to clean them. So when it's going through this cycle, it's getting the rinse additive, it's getting the sanitizer, and then your glasses are good to go. So I'll shut off at that point, and then we're good. So the biggest thing to maintain here is the cleanliness of the jets, because if you don't have full wash cycle, you're not really getting anything clean. So to disassemble the machine, this cylinder comes out of the middle, paddle just lifts off, couple little trays on the side, and then this wheel comes off. And then you'll have your two sets of arms. These ones aren't going to get nearly as dirty as the ones on the left. The left is going to get dirtier than the right side. To take the jets off, you push out on the 3-prong arm, and then they just slide out. Got small little holes here, and they'll eventually get clogged up. And just what I usually do is just take them back, use your spray hose on the triple sink, and just spray it out.
Okay.
Put them back in. There's a
Just-
little.
Just spraying from the outside.
I usually spray them from the outside to kind of loosen what's actually clogging the jet, and then spray them inside, kind of tap it out, and that'll get the scale out of there.
Okay. There's no brush or anything that reaches in there.
I can actually probably get one for you.
Looks like something that screams for a pipe brush.
Yeah, I think they usually do have some kind of pipe brush. I'll track one down for you and get it to you.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So to put it back in, and it's the same one on both the bottom and the top. So on the top, again, push. I gotta put my phone down here. Push out, come out. The only difference between these is this one's facing down, this one's facing up.
Identical components.
Identical components. You can go switch them on this side. You can switch them back and forth. It's got a tooth here in the middle, so you know you're lining it up properly. Whereas these ones, if you do remove these for any reason, these ones are offset.
Ah. Okay.
So the rinse ones are offset. The wash ones are in the middle.
Okay.
So to reassemble it, goes in that little harness there, slides over the hub, and it's back up and running. Whenever you're having results concerns or people are saying the glasses aren't coming clean, 2 top things to check. Number 1 is make sure you've got chemistry hooked up. Number 2 is make sure those arms are clean, because those are, between those 2 items, that's 95% of results issues is one of those 2 not being.
Should we be cleaning those arms on a regular basis just for...
I would say at least have them check them nightly. I mean, just poke your head in. You can tell pretty easily whether they're working or not, because yeah, that might work.
Awesome.
Yeah. You'll be able to tell just looking at the jets, because when you don't have those jets, you don't see any water spraying across. It should, if the jets are completely clean, you should have water going across the entire radius of the conveyor. If you let it go for a month without cleaning them out, you're going to notice you're only getting water coming out to here. That's
So at least every couple of weeks we should break it down and clean it.
I would, yeah, for sure. So to reassemble it, the middle of the wheel goes back on this hub, and then this is spring loaded. So kind of pull this gear back.
Gear.
Yep. The gear attaches like that. Cylinder goes in the middle. These are just little guard
Spacers.
plates on the side. Yep.
That cylinder's a nice improvement. The last one I had, it was really a bear to get that out of there.
Yeah, they have done well on that. So with the paddle here, sometimes people will just kind of put it, well, the newer ones go on a little bit smoother, but sometimes it'll be just like that, and it won't actually catch the mechanism. So make sure the paddle is down all the way. When you move it back and forth, you should hear that click.
Okay.
Curtain, there's just 2 clamps on either side. And there you go. There's a screen that sits over the top of the tank. Good idea, just check this daily when they're filling the tank out or draining it down. You will get some residue build up in here. And if this gets too clogged up, potentially the tank will start overflowing.
Okay.
So check that out. That just slides right over the top like that.
Okay.
The door, we were talking about this. I'm going to get an angle grinder or something to kind of grind this side down. But for right now, I've just got this bracket loose so that the door back on. Most of the daily functions you don't need to take the door off for. Really, the only thing would be if you're trying to get it like the back, if you need to change the rinse out or something. I mean, you can get it the sanitizer pretty easily just with the door open that much. You can get it the on and off switch.
Yeah.
So, yeah. having that kind of loose also helps us get by the box lid there too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And filling in the morning, draining at night, I missed that part.
Filling in the morning, you just make sure your drain plug is in the tank. Make sure there's a cover here, because if this is open, it'll start the machine up right away. And just turn it on. If the tank was empty, it would start filling up. Since we're already filled, it's where it needs to be.
And then I just turn it off and it drains?
It doesn't drain on its own. You do need to pull the plug out of there.
Okay.
So turn the machine off, have them take that tray out, pull the plug. If you ever notice that you're only getting cold water on the machine, sometimes people will either miss the plug or they won't put the plug in, and they'll just be cycling water and cycling water. So make sure that having the drain plug in also helps for operation. Yeah. So,
Drain plug is that tall?
just a
stainless
tall,
tube?
thin one. It's just a manual drain plug right in the front side of the tank. It's hollow, so if your drain is backed up, like if the plumbing is actually backed up for some reason, again, this is usually more an issue if there are like straws or cocktail straws and things like that. So if you get straws and the drain gets backed up, it'll start overflowing in the tank. But you guys shouldn't really have that issue.
So it's using the same water, recycling that.
You'll lose some of the water just by process of running the glasses through. You'll get some water coming through the glasses, or if you're running pitchers through, it'll drag some of it through. So it has a float switch in there, so it does refill it as it senses it needs to be refilled.
Okay.
And it adds detergent whenever that fill cycle kicks in.
Okay.
So it does regulate itself well on the detergent side. On the sanitizer and rinse, basically if the machine is on, if that rinse side is running, it's putting detergent and it's putting sanitizer and rinse additive into the rinse cycle all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of a constant thing, and that's fresh water, so there's not a reservoir for the rinse side.
So again, the nightly maintenance is to take that plug out.
Yep.
And turn the unit off.
Yep.
It'll drain automatically as soon as that plug comes out.
As soon as that plug is out, it's just a gravity drain, so it'll go.
And maybe to do a visual check of the sprayers, but every 3-4 days, and whenever there's a plug apparent in any of the sprayers on the wash side, pull those suckers out, brush them out, spray them out, plug them back in. The rinse side,
you really don't need to do anything with, because that's all fresh water, and so, you're not getting the potential residue that's coming through the tank.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Check the pH on.
Is there
sanitizer? Yeah, I think I've got some strips in my truck that I'll leave with you.
Is there a descaling?
There's not a deliming
or?
cycle on this. What I sometimes will do, and this isn't something you're going to have to worry about for a few months at least, is depending on how the actual wash tank looks. Sometimes what I'll do is actually just dump like a pint of lime oil into the wash tank and then just let it run, and that'll get it cleaned out a little.
You can use the acid that I have.
Okay.
I've seen people run vinegar through it too. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing I forgot for the daily maintenance is to slide that screen out and
check the
back
screen, yeah.
back rinse that. So.
And I'm working on like an actual procedures sign for this. We don't have one currently available, but I'm working on like a procedures thing that we can put on could potentially